Welcome, everybody. I'm joined by Andy Talaga, and we're here to talk about how all that stuff in your closet might be better suited somewhere else. So, we have our top 5 tips of downsizing your collection. And I think we want to start this off with the first one being don't be afraid of the bulk sale. So, I think that sometimes with collecting, you want to get the value of every common and uncommon, every rare for a quarter or a nickel. But sometimes it's perhaps just not worth the 20 hours of investment, and it's
or
better
more.
to say, or more. It's better to just say, hey, I've got 100 rares and I've got 500 commons and uncommons, $50. And someone will say, sure. And that is maybe a better use of your time, and it's a better use of closet space just to let that go, and better for your mental health than to sit and make a spreadsheet and realize that you have well, actually, I have $86 worth of value according to Category 1 games. And like, no, just don't be afraid of the bulk sale. Like, that's
Yeah.
the best way to do this, is just to get rid of stuff that you don't need in one fell swoop. Do you have any thoughts on that, Andy?
Yeah. So a couple quick thoughts. One, I went through this same process personally, like earlier. I guess it was earlier this year, or like over the winter. In the middle of the pandemic, I had gotten like really big back into Versus System, and there was a store in New Jersey near me that was going to be closing.
I
That
love
like
the
all
story.
the stores were like closed because it's the middle of COVID. It's like
Yeah.
June of 2020. Nobody's going to a store, so they're just like clearing out their storage unit, and they came across like 150 170,000 Versus System commons, and they posted it on like a Marvel card trading group, not like Versus System, but like like
Right.
the old cards, non-sport stuff. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll buy it. I'll give you, Magic Bulk sells at like $3 for 1,000 cards. Versus Systems probably less. If you take it, I'll give you half. I'll give you $1.50 for 1,000 cards, and whatever that worked out to,
Yeah, call it
several
$250.
$100s, because there's like 100,000 something, you know. And I was like going to do something. I was going to build cubes. I was going to build all this stuff, and it just sat there. And I moved it from one house to another house, and I was like, forget this. I'm not. I had 42 boxes of Versus, like
Like
big,
the 5,000 count
big,
box.
yeah, five. I had 42 boxes or something crazy like that, and I was like, forget this. I'm not. Finally, just ended up. I pulled out like some stuff that I wanted to use to build decks, and then I just posted it for free on the Versus System group. I was like, anybody who can buy this, anybody who wants it can just come get it. I'll drive up to 2 hours away from my house. Some guy from upstate New York drove down into north of Philadelphia, and I met him, and he was happy. And that's the other part of it, is like getting rid of your bulk, or like not penny pinching to get the last cent out of it, can maybe help somebody else out with what they're trying to do with their collecting things, right? They might appreciate the bulk more than you, or it might be like a new collector who's like, hey, I got a great value on this $50 lot that normally would have cost me $87, and I got a bunch of cool rares and some bulk, and I can start playing card games with my kids or something. So
Yeah. No,
don't be afraid to bulk everything out.
yeah, I think so. Just and penny pinching on this stuff is just not the way to successfully downsize, because as soon as you post something and no one buys it, then you lower the price, you start to get frustrated. Like, I'll just put it back in the closet, which is not the way to downsize. So let's
Yeah,
move to our next one.
sure.
Do you want to hit this one?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's about networking, knowing all of the people, or as many people as you can. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, talk to them online. Post, hey, cool cards, on their, whatever their post they made. Just like, because it opens the door. Like I've met a lot of people in the last several years, card collecting or collecting, and anything and everything. And I talk to them, and honestly, it's more fun to like talk about all this stuff than it is to actually do the hobby sometimes. But like, if you like network, it can like help you with like your collecting goals too. Like, maybe somebody who's looking for something, and you can connect two people together, and then they can connect you. Like, there was somebody who posted some Reflections gold cards up on the Star Wars thing, and I got tagged like 15 times, right? But that's all through networking, right? And so I was able to like.
Well, I think it also helps take this hobby from the sort of solitary nature of organizing cards in a binder and building decks into this broader community. Like as it is with all these games we talk about, the communities are small. You're talking about a couple hundred, being generous, saying a couple thousand people, and to help build those connective relationships is going to one. You know that someone's looking for stuff. So, for example, I just sold some cards, and I sold it to people that I knew. I'm like, oh, I know this person's looking for Japanese A New Hope. I happen to have some. This is so much easier than like soliciting offers.
Sure.
And I think just building that out also going to make you feel better about this hobby that you've devoted time and resources and a little bit of love to. So I think that's going to bring us to our third one, which is trading is your friend, right? So, thinking of this collection as a form of a different currency to get the things you want. Like if I can trade 50 rares that I don't need for 5 that I do, then that's a great day, right? And so that's a great way of downsizing, whether it's sort of trading up, if you will, to get 1 card for 100 cards, or just understanding that there's these networks of people that want stuff, and how do you get that sort of demand to meet your supply. So I really encourage people to trade. I know it can be tedious. I've done plenty of tedious Excel spreadsheet trades. I'm like, why am I doing this? But at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, this was kind of fun. I didn't spend more money on these damn cards. So I feel better. Like I've spent enough money on these things. I think it's okay for me to just trade for what I want now. And I think it'd also be a lot of fun at the end, and you end up kind of building a little bit of a relationship or rapport with the person, which ultimately it's never about the game, but the friends you made along the way or something cheesy like that. So I think trading is just a great way to sort of encourage downsizing as well.
Sure. And with trading and downsizing, it's a big part of it is staying organized. And keeping
so this is our fourth one. Yeah. So fourth
point is staying organized, right? Like a big part of the hobby is having a bunch of cards in a binder and a box in a specific order that only you know, right?
Because it's meditative, right? It's meditative knowing I can open this binder and I know that I organized my sets in reverse alphabetical order, and because I thought that was cool.
Right. And like you could explain that to somebody who you've networked with, and they'll be like, oh, that's a cool way to do it. And if you explain that to, the 45-year-old cat lady at your office, she's going to think you're a psychopath. But
there was a really great article in the New York Times last week about like comic book collectors, and as they die, their heirs don't know what to do with their stuff. And I thought about it a lot. I mean, I thought about even doing a video about like a living will, like here's what you need to do with my stuff if I die. But I think building these relationships, whether it's through trading or just connecting, can also help you sort of actualize the joy. And it's not just, I have a figurine that sits on a shelf and no one knows about it except me. My family thinks I'm weird, but I swear it's special. Right?
But again, to digress, it's about staying organized, knowing what you have. Part of the knowing what you have is so that you don't rebuy or retrade for something you already have, but it can also help you with knowing, like, again, what you do have to trade to, connect people to. And so I think like organization can really help you, because also if you have to organize bulk, that's like one of the least enjoyable aspects of the hobby.
I just saw
I'm sure there's somebody out there who loves organizing bulk.
There's a machine that is, I think some guys in Canada came up with, that organizes Magic and Pokemon cards. It takes a picture of each of them and then puts them in piles. And I think I might buy that machine for myself. I was like, these guys are goddamn geniuses. My God. But no, I mean, with organized, like, it can take many forms, right? Like, it can be a system that just you understand. It could be an Excel spreadsheet if you're a dork like me. But, like, just find a way of knowing what you have. And this brings us to our fifth suggestion: avoid over collecting. I think this is something that I am guilty of. I just bought more Star Wars CCG today. I know. Andy's disappointed in me. I can't stop collecting it, and to the point where I'm like, the marginal utility of new cards coming in is much lower than it was a year ago. Where I'm like, oh, a fifth copy of Prince Shizor, that's cool. Rather than my second copy, I need 2 to run in a deck. So I think just start to think about what brings you utility, what brings you joy, and avoid over collecting for the idea of arbitrage, right? Like, oh, I could sell half of this off. Like if you're at that point with this, with any real hobby, like question your motives. What are you trying to get out of something? It's not collecting or joy. Like, are you trying to run a small business? If you are, you need to have a different framework. Maybe you need a different workspace, or like, just don't try to run a small business off of collecting cards and selling them on Facebook.
Yeah. And when you do think about the things that give you joy, think about the things of getting rid of things to give you joy. So you Marie Kondo it, and you have to hold it and thank it. And thank you, Stormtrooper. You were fantastic. I'm going to put you in the trash now.
Yeah, I'm going to put you in this 5,000 count box that I'm selling for $20.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, those are some great things. I'll give a bonus one here at the very end, which I think can do a lot for people, because it is easy to go overboard and just like not stay within a groove or a niche, or like, collecting only things that, or pertain to you. Is, when you start to like buy, oh, I need this Young Jedi collection, and I need this Jedi Knights collection, and I need this. And I'm not personally attacking you here, Matt, but
who wants Young Jedi?
is to probably like set a budget for yourself, for your collectibles, right? There's lots of collectibles out there. Yes, there's some like crazy one of one type things that, you may end up passing on. But like, if there's a billion copies of some of these cards out there, right? Well, maybe not a billion, but you know what I mean, right? So it's like, set a budget, whatever you can do for your month, or maybe it's a yearly budget, or it's whatever, and try to stick to it, because it's easy to go real overboard very quickly. And then you start getting into the like mindset of like, oh my God, I spent $4,500 this month. What the hell am I doing? And you start like worrying about stuff. It's like, you don't need that stress, because that detracts from the fun of collecting.
And I think recognizing, like with most hobbies, right? Like, a person owns a jet ski. They get joy out of using the jet ski. And other people probably don't really give a crap. They own a jet ski or whatever it is. But like, most hobbies that you have are going to give you intrinsic value and joy that it's not going to give your friends and family, right? It's for you. And if you're not getting that joy and intrinsic value from these things, then perhaps that's time to start thinking about getting rid of them or downsizing them, or approaching this differently. And I think that's where the budget comes in, because I think there can be this stress from like, holy crap, I just spent $3,000 in cards, like a mortgage worth of cards. What am I going to do with this? These are pretty illiquid. That's another good reminder. This stuff is pretty illiquid, so give yourself time. Maybe my bonus one is build in time to sell this stuff. If you want a quick sale, you're not going to get your full value. You're looking at probably 50 to 70% of whatever market value is. Sure. The more time you take, the more value you're going to get from your stuff. So I think that's my final point there. Andy, any closing thoughts?
No, I think we hit it all. Good luck getting rid of your bulk to people. Scott Church, Category 1 Games, hit him up. He loves.
So in review, don't be afraid of the bulk sale. Network with people so you don't feel like a weirdo. Trade with people to help optimize your value. Keep yourself organized. Avoid over collecting. Keep a budget. And I forgot what my last one was there.
Somewhere in there was to Marie Kondo everything.
Yeah, Marie Kondo everything.
She's a verb now.
So, well, this has been a lot of fun, Andy. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like, subscribe. We're going to do a big show if we hit 1,000. Not if, when. So we'll look forward to that. But we'll catch everybody next time.
All right. Sounds good. Bye.